it's Andre, and it's time for another flying update. Today it's Saturday, not Friday, c'est la vie. Actually, outside right now it's really gusty, and there's a nasty wind chill, like -16 or something to that effect, so it's going to be bench building and some other house projects and everything. Last weekend, you will notice, if you're following social media, the 3S Mighty Mini Aero from Flight Test went flying, and this thing was a riot. I actually enjoyed it quite a lot. Didn't get to do any FPV with it because I was just getting used to launching it and the controls and everything. And the combination of those carbon fiber bits and pieces and that nice little 3D printed cage, thanks guys and the contributors, that was awesome. This little wing was a hoot. About 400 grams fully loaded with a Nanotech 1300 3S 50C kind of pack. Big difference between the 1000, the Zippy Combat 1000, which I think was just a 25C battery, and the 50. The thing was a riot on the 50, obviously. With the 50 on board, I think it was about 400 grams or so. So pretty nice. I do use 9-gram nylon servos just because it's what I had on hand, and it feels nice and sturdy. The 2S version is as fun to fly, obviously a little slower, and the motor pack behind that guy, as I mentioned before, is a 2204 2300 kV motor spinning a 5-inch DLL prop. So really good airplane to fly. Check it out, get one if you can. I'm looking forward to doing some FPV with it later on this weekend, hopefully. Speaking of FPV, one thing I'm working on, this is the Quantum 2 headset or container, and those are my old Quantum 1 goggles. I'm not liking the Fresnel lens thingy, nor is James. And James is using this as his primary set of goggles. So what I'm going to do, I've read a lot of people having success where they move the monitor further out and extend the setup. So what I'm going to do is not mess with the front end where they got the eye cup section. I'll put their foam in and everything and set up all that. But I will use some foam board and push the lens out a little bit longer and set it up for his glasses tabs and everything. So it's a lot more functional. So looking forward to getting that working out nicely so I can keep using my Fat Sharks. James said he used the monitor last weekend and just wasn't for him. He wanted to be close up and everything. So I said, okay, we'll sit down, we'll get a camera going, we'll do a transmission, we'll set up, and we'll figure out what the optimal length is for him to enjoy this, because why not? On the bench, one of the things I was working on earlier in the week is something that my buddy Scott from Australia sent me, and this is the MX2 from Hobby King, 955 millimeters or something to that effect. So a full-on, profile style 3D plane. What Scott had me do before you'll let me even fly it was go to work and use a bunch of carbon fiber strips everywhere on this airplane to help its survivability and reinforcement. So I used a combination of 0.5 millimeter by 3 millimeter and so on, even some 6s on the back end and the back cowl. And the idea is this will really strengthen up the aircraft in an event of a crash. So I've got a few more spots I want to put on, and I want to pay attention to maybe putting some spoilers here or some wood as recommended, using some paint sticks, just to help stiffen up the whole thing, because this plane will get dropped, it will get bounced around, it will get banged around. And between this thing and the Fat Hawk from Jason, we're looking like I'm going to get a little bit of 3D flying. This airplane came around from a conversation I was having with Scott last year, where I was really upset that we were running into access issues at the field. And he says, well, this is one thing he likes about 3D airplanes is the fact that he can go to like the little ballpark or wherever's empty and just pop the thing up in the air, burn off a 1300 milliamp cell in no time at all. So I've got motors and metal servos and all kinds of things. I'm doing a little bit of a write-up, which is in the Flight Test forum right now, so I'll link that into the video description, and we'll go from there. The EFX Racer is ready to go as well, so maybe tomorrow. I've got a bunch of 4S batteries charged up for that. And from GearBest, the RunCam 2 silver. I asked for orange, got for silver, whatever. It will still get used. I've got some orange tape coming in, so I'll find a way to decorate it up. So far, I'm liking the form factor. Little things like tether locks and everything. I'm a little concerned that eventually this battery port and SD card access port, this little piece of plastic will get broken, much like any camera these days will it'll get subjected to some stuff. But it does have a removable battery, which is pretty awesome. I can see myself picking up another one just to have it on hand, and really using it a lot. So we're gonna get this thing in the air this weekend. I need to get the tether through. That's the biggest problem I've had so far, is just trying to figure out how to get it in. So I'm thinking more some higher durable fishing line, or a toothpick, or paper clip or something will just help me push it through, and it'll lock it down. It comes with a really nice accessory pack, some straps, anchor points, all the FPV cables, USB cables. That's the tether. So I'm impressed. It seems like a really nice product. Hoping the video looks. A couple people asked me to try the 720 exposure at 120 frames per second. So that's pretty awesome. So I got a feeling I'm gonna need to buy a bigger SD card, I think. So we'll see where that all goes. It will obviously be going up against the Mobius C2. So maybe I'll stick them on board the Tundra or something, and put them all side by side, and do some kind of flying together. We'll see. I'm going to devise a nice little test, but it's nice to have another camera in the fleet to test. So look forward to that. I'm going to obviously have to do all the firmware. So again, it is going to be probably a flying weekend on Sunday, fingers crossed. I want to do some FPV, obviously. I've got the Bixer working. I've got the Versa wing back together after I had an aileron control link failure. Josh Bixer came back with an email afterwards and said, hey, recommended doing it the other way. Actually, I found on the Aero, doing the clips and getting the dimensions just right is my biggest struggle. So he recommended, if I want to run the links, which I do like, put them on the servo arm end, and just run the hook on the end, on the wing, on the aileron control horn. So I'm still learning all the time too. So have a great weekend. See you at the field. Thanks.